The City of Waterloo, in cooperation with its many active and inspiring entities, presents Heart for the City, a chance to hear and see what's going on in our city and to meet people who serve you, teach you, entertain you, help you, all neighbors and like you. Make this a city on the move. And now, here's our host, the Honorable Quentin Hart.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on Heart for the City. I'm Quentin Hart, proud mayor of Waterloo. And once again, we have a great show coming your way. In and around Waterloo are two major economic entities. They are industrial manufacturing and agriculture. Located in the heart of the American breadbasket, Iowa is one of the nation's leading producers of corn, soybeans, oats, and hogs. We have almost 37,000 acres of farmland within the city limits. And industry, as well as agriculture, is a big part of our overall culture. And among our many Waterloo manufacturers is John Deere, which is one of the largest manufacturers of agricultural machinery in the world. It ranks 102nd on America's Fortune 500 companies and 190th in the Fortune 500 global rankings. And as agriculture and industry have a long history in the Midwest, how do we wrap our heads around the ever-changing face of our ag and industrial transformation? One organization has the answers. What is it? We'll find out. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Heart for the City. Why is knowledge of agricultural and industrial history important? For some insight on this topic, we have as our guest, Cara Miller, Executive Director of the Silos and Smokestacks Natural Heritage Area. Welcome.
Thank you.
That was a lot.
So, we have a big name.
You do, and a big job and an awesome job. But Cara, can you tell us, what is Silos and Smokestacks National Heritage Area?
We are a 501c3 nonprofit, and we are affiliated with the National Park Service. Mm-hmm. It's our mission to tell and preserve the story of American agriculture and its global significance. So American agriculture has been one of the primary sources of wealth and world leadership in our country, and heritage areas are places that try and preserve that kind of culture and those kind of stories. So we tell the story of agriculture from historical perspective, the progress through to what it means today. Because as we like to say, everybody eats, so everybody needs to know about agriculture.
Right, and not only do they eat, we are the world leader in a couple areas, right?
Yes, Iowa's the #1 producer of pork, hogs, and of eggs.
Oh wow, I just found that out maybe 3 seconds ago from you.
Yes.
And so tell us a little bit about your background. How did you become involved in this area?
I have almost 30 years experience in nonprofit leadership from different areas, but 17 of those years have been with 4-H foundations in both Colorado and Minnesota. So when I started looking for my next move, where I wanted to be to end my career, I really started looking for some place where I felt I could make a difference for people's understanding of agriculture and the world and the importance that it plays. So, plus I have family here in Waterloo, and I grew up in Iowa, and I wanted to come back.
So you have a green thumb?
I do
A
have
little
a green
bit,
thumb.
Well, good. Well, how does staff and volunteers How are they involved in the mission and the telling of the story and the preserving of history?
Our staff really provides leadership and education to we have 120 partner sites around the region. So we don't tell the story on our own. We partner with many sites around the northeast area of Iowa, the 37 county region, to help tell the story. And a lot of those sites are small. A lot of them are totally volunteer driven. So they need help with marketing and some technical assistance and their what we call interpretation, which means what story are they going to tell. So our staff helps and assists with all of those things. We also provide some education ourselves for public as well as for all of our partner sites. So that's kind of our staff keeps busy being the hub of providing information for those sites to exist and provide good experiences for the public.
And you know what's interesting? You may have a community or a site or someone that would not even know that what they actually are offering is something that is of that worth and of that value and has global significance.
Absolutely. And that's our job, to help pull that story out and to help them see what they can share with the public. So boosting tourism is a key aspect of our work, of getting people to these sites to learn and know and understand agriculture and to see rural Iowa.
Right. And is silos, can I say silos, or do I need
Yes,
to
you
say
can.
SSNAH?
No.
But what role do you play, if any, in historic preservation?
We do some of that. We have a person on our staff, Candy Street, who's our director of partnerships, who has a lot of experience in that. So some sites come to us and they actually have a historical building or a historical barn, and they need to understand what they can do to preserve that. And on top of that, then what story can we tell about this space? So we provide assistance in that as well.
That's incredible. And are there locations that are a part of Waterloo or Black Hawk County or nearby communities that are a part of this?
Absolutely. We have at least 30, probably more, sites that are within an hour's drive of this area. Over a dozen sites right here in the Cedar Valley. And people can go to our website at www.silosandsmokestacks.org. It is a mouthful.
Right.
And they can find all of our sites on that website and see where they want to go and plan the visit. We also have a visitor guide that people can pick up both at Experience Waterloo and at the Cedar Valley, or the Cedar Falls Visitor Center.
You know, there have been hundreds of people that have come up to me and asked me, when is the mayor's tour?
I know, we have to do that.
Well, maybe not hundreds of people, maybe.
We'll take 50. It's interesting you say that, because we have done some tours, and this fall we're doing a tour for photographers. So we have a photo contest, and that is actually open now. People can submit photos until October 31st. But we wanted to give people a chance to specifically see some of our sites so that people can come and hop on the bus and go with us to some of the sites. So we need to do that for you as well.
Let's do it. Do it for Iowa, not for me. For Iowa. That's not what we can do.
Well, that's true. Yeah, but you need to host because you're the draw. Those 100 people want to come.
Let's get them. Let's get them on board, and let's bring these cameras on and just do a video tour as
That'd
well.
be fantastic.
So we may have to talk to the executive director of this program. He's pretty tough, but I think he may be able to do some video footage as well. So.
We would love that.
All right. And speaking of moving and touring, you are looking at moving offices, correct?
Yes, we are. We're very excited about it. Our current office, it's hard to find. And once you find it, it's hard to get to. So we have really wanted for a few years to have what we call a street presence and make ourselves a little more user-friendly. We talk about it being the doorway to the heritage area. So it will be a space. It's at 305 Park. It's in the back part of the building where the Experience Waterloo is, across the street from the convention center. So we're hoping people will come over there and come in, learn about who we are, and learn about where they can go to visit Ag Stories. And our hope is that we will be in there fully by the end of this calendar year. We're starting it this month, hopefully. They'll be working on it. And as we finish up, we'll make sure everybody in the community is invited to come and see.
And you know, it was incredible when you had the viewing that time. You had the 3D goggles that you can actually look and see the entire office. What would be incredible is when you do the 3D virtual reality, all your different silos locations too. That would be pretty incredible as well. But you mentioned opening the door, and you have a project called Opening the Doorway. Can you tell us about that and the phases?
There's two phases to us moving. The first phase is about building the office spaces. We need a place to have our offices and work. So that has to be totally funded through contributions and gifts. We still probably need about $50,000 to complete that phase of the funding. So if anybody's willing to make a gift, we would love to take it. The second phase is the interpretation phase, where we put in all of the information about who we are, you know, the importance of American agriculture, all those types of things. That phase is fully funded. So we won't start that phase 2, though, until the office buildings are done and built out. So we hope that that phase 1 gets completed by late this fall, October, early November, and then we work on that second phase.
And you're a 501c3, so when everyone makes that donation for that $50,000, it's charitable donation, tax deductible. And just really quickly, in about 15 seconds or so, you have a photo contest.
We do. It's in its 12th year. We rely on those photos. Actually, the background photo that we have today is one of our photo contest photos. Oh, wow. And anyone can enter. They can visit our website, again, silosandsmokestacks.org, and see the criteria and see the information. They just have to have their entries by October 31st. Right. So we would love to have as many photos as possible there. It's a wonderful program.
And I want to thank you, Cara, for all your hard work and your staff's hard work and diligence, and for taking time to visit us and help us understand what Silos and Smokestacks National Heritage Area has to offer. And the story is all around us. So go to www.silosandsmokestacks.org for up-to-the-date information on the many opportunities available for fun and learning.
Thanks for the opportunity.
At one time, farm products were processed locally to serve area markets. Capacity limitations restricted the amount of product that could be produced. But advances in refrigeration, transportation, and processing changed all that, resulting in expanded markets for Iowa's products. And today, delivering agricultural products has become a multi-billion-dollar, multinational industry, and companies like John Deere, Quaker Oats, Pioneer, Cargill, ADM, and Tyson Fresh Meats have become successful and well-known by producing retail goods using Iowa products and labor. Waterloo is third in the state in manufacturing employment, and we have over 13,000 people working in industry. And by the way, consider visiting the John Deere Tractor Works and see tractors being made from start to finish on this one-of-a-kind tour. Drivetrain operations and the engine work tours are also available. Always call John Deere Visitor Services before going to take any of the tours to check times, availability, and other details. Whew. Also, be sure to visit the highly acclaimed Tractor and Engine Museum, and all tours and admissions are free. Moving on, Waterloo is a community of exceptionalism with a host of extraordinary people, and we will meet one such person after this. Stay with us.
Welcome to the Waterloo Regional Airport. Waterloo Regional Airport is served by American Airlines with daily flights to Chicago O'Hare and connections anywhere in the world. Our airport offers convenient and easy access, fast security lines, $6 daily parking, and comfortable passenger waiting areas. Whether you're traveling for business or pleasure, fly ALO. Visit us online to book a flight or to check our flight schedule. Fly with us today.
Welcome back to our show. Athlete, educator, coach, mentor, almost a great golfer, role model, and all-around hero to so many is East High School's own Tim Moses. Welcome, Tim.
Thanks for having me.
So you're retiring from coaching after nearly 25 years of working with youth in track and cross country. Do you think you'll miss any of it?
Absolutely. I'll miss a lot of the things about coaching track at East High School. The most is just working with the youth of the community. I'll miss competing against the coaches throughout the conference. I'll miss the state track meet. I'll miss the Drake relays. So there's many things that I'll miss about coaching track at East High School.
And I know just as you'll miss, the students and people coming up through the programs will miss you too. But what's funny is to see if you won't volunteer somewhere or do something like, helping the starters or something, man, because, I mean, you're so much a part of East High track and East High athletics. So, we thank you for that. But, we know East High has played a major part in my life, has played a major part in your life. But tell us about it, starting with your own participation when you were in school with football and basketball and track for the Trojans.
My experience as an athlete at East High School is kind of unlike the experience of students today. I didn't specialize. I was a multi-sport athlete. I played football, basketball, and track and field. And I had consistency throughout my career as an athlete. I had the same coaches that was able to coach me all 3 years of my high school experience.
Right, and you grew up though in a sports-focused family. I mean, your dad, your brothers were notable athletes, and you and your brothers played football at a time when East High was on such a high level in sports. But even with all of that said, what role did academics play in that equation?
My academics played a very strong part of that equation. For me, growing up, my dad always made it very clear that football or sports could be taken away from you at any time. But the one thing that couldn't be taken away from me was my education. So he really put a high value on that piece of those two things combined was the education, and that's going to take me and it would take me a lot further than athletics.
Right, and but in growing up, but that shaped your values and your worldview also, didn't it?
Absolutely. Athletics gave me a track to run on. It provided me an opportunity to experience junior college. It gave me an opportunity to experience football at UNI. So it gave me a little bit more of a perspective of what things had to offer.
And you played football or athletics at Ellsworth. You played at UNI. What was that like, and how did that have an impact on your future?
Coming out of high school, being the athlete that I was, I guess I was pretty good. When I got to Ellsworth Community College,
I'll say you was good for real. I thought I was good, but you were good for real.
No, and thank you, I appreciate that. But when I got to Ellsworth Community College, I was humbled really quick. When I first got there, I came in as a quarterback, but never saw that position. I got moved to defensive back immediately. When I got to Ellsworth Community College, I began on fifth string as a defensive back. I didn't quit. I stuck it out. I fought my way to an earning position on the first team. But as I said, it humbled me really quick because I was kind of feeling myself. I was pretty confident of my abilities and thinking that I was going to be automatically put into that first group, and I wasn't. And I was pretty dejected, but I didn't get myself too down. I fought and I battled every day in practice, and I earned myself a starting position.
Right, and that's interesting too because sports are a lot like life. You have a game, the field, which is life, and you have these boundaries. You have these things you need to do to be able to get better and produce. But you could have easily allowed that to dissuade you to say, I'm done with it. But you use that, whatever you were taught in that worldview you talked a little bit earlier, and you fought your way through and put yourself in a position to be able to play. So that's incredible.
Thank you.
But are there special challenges today with teaching and coaching at East High or any of our other high schools?
Yeah, it is a challenge.
We can do a series on that, right?
Yeah, we could really do a series on that. I won't elaborate too much into it, but as a coach, you find out very quickly that you're going to wear multiple hats.
Right.
Because we deal with so many different dynamics from a family, a child's family, that as a coach, we ended up playing multiple roles because those kids that we coach at East High School come from different backgrounds.
Right. And need
Yeah.
a lot of support on so many different levels.
Absolutely.
And you know, you mentioned something a little bit earlier about multi-sports. Is that a change from before you played multi-sports? Are people focusing more on one sport overall?
Yeah, student athletes, they are starting to focus more on either basketball or football, which I don't like, because I think you shut those opportunities down when you start to specialize. And I think every kid should be taught to experience all sports,
Right.
because you never know what you're going to be best in.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting, like nowadays, you think about, you know, my son's 14, 12, and my daughter's 7. It's almost like if you don't have them in a specific sport by this age, then they're going to miss so much. So it's almost like you have to be concentrated just by the outside things or outside programs. They'll be so far behind if they don't do it. So that's really a great conversation you posed. But tell us about teaching academics. You know, what was that? What is that like with our schools?
I love teaching. I think I have the greatest job that a person could have, being able to impact the youth of our community and being that positive role model has been an absolute something that I've embraced and I love doing. So I'm going to continue to teach. I say that I have 5 years left. My wife laughs about that. So I guess I'm gonna be teaching for a while now.
Right. And you know, anytime we get together outside or somewhere else with all the fellas, the conversation and stories
Sure.
start to come in. Like I think I even told folks that I had 10 tackles one game. I don't have a tackle in my career. but what are one or two quick stories or fond memories that you have?
I guess my fondest memory came when I was at the University of Northern Iowa playing football, and we were playing against Eastern Illinois for a conference championship, and that's how I got the title on my license plate as 85 champs. We were playing Eastern Illinois. Sean Payton, who's the quarterback, who is now the head coach of the New Orleans Saints.
Right.
We were up 21-20. They're going for the win. They were going for the 2-point conversion, and I read and I studied a lot of film, and he just happened to throw the ball my way for the 2-point conversion attempt. I happened to be at the right place at the right time and intercepted the pass. And that's my claim to fame. He has Super Bowl rings and I don't.
Right, Tim Lockdown. I bet he remembers that interception.
I hope he does.
All right. Well, Tim, man, thank you so much. There's so much that we could say, but I'm pleased that you will remain an educator, and as such, you will continue to positively impact young lives. And teaching the value of discipline, responsibility, teamwork, and accountability is so important and so necessary. And I can only say thank you for being that role model, both in sports and academics, that will positively influence kids for the rest of their lives. So I hope to see you again, so you'll have to come back on here and visit us as well.
Absolutely, it'd be a pleasure.
There are about 46 public parks in Waterloo, and one stands out among them all. Which is it? Stay tuned. More to come on Heart for the City.
Getting healthy has never been easier with a membership at Cedar Valley Sportsplex. Offering 80 free classes a week at all skill levels, there's always new and fun opportunities to grow. You never have to miss out on your favorites with our state-of-the-art facilities, featuring great exercise equipment, a track and field, pool, and 2 regulation gyms. So whether your game is football or pickleball, let the Cedar Valley Sportsplex turn your routine into something amazing.
Welcome back. And to quote my own words, it's good I have a quote now. So, Lincoln Park is one of the busiest parks in the entire Cedar Valley. And so we want to make sure that it's handicap accessible, that it's prettier and more lively, and can handle some of the large concerts that we were having. And that is just a small part of the story. And to tell us more about our oldest city park is Paul Hudding, Leisure Services Director. So welcome back to Heart for the City.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, Paul, before we dive into Lincoln Park, tell us a little bit about your history as Leisure Services Director and how you got involved in this area.
Well, I went back many years, Iowa State University, plug for the Cyclones, decided that I wanted to be a forest ranger.
Oh, wow.
And got married, came back to my hometown, and there weren't too many forests here, so I decided parks were closely related. So there was an opening, and the rest is history.
All right, and you know, as I just mentioned, and in our backdrop, you see all these incredible, or this incredible picture of Lincoln Park. And after all, it's been a popular place for over 100 years, but why is there a need to change?
Well, Lincoln Park has been around since almost as long as Waterloo's been here, and it's served as a town square for almost as long as well.
Has it actually been here as long as Waterloo, but we just put some borders around it with streets and turn it into a park?
You know, I wasn't here back then, but that's what I've been told. It's been over 30 years since it's had any major improvements made, so it was getting just a little bit tired looking. And I got a call from a couple people I know well who were enjoying the ID8 building right across the street, and they had some suggestions, and we decided to follow up.
And other than just a place to sit and play, what else happens in Lincoln Park?
Well, it's probably our biggest event venue in the city, or one of them. It's not physically the biggest probably, but we have so many things that happen there, and we're all aware of the Barbecue Lou, the Friday Lou's, the Irish Fest, which is the largest one, I believe. But it's not just those big events, it's the multitude of events that happen.
Right. I mean, we have our veterans that do the barbecues on, I think it's Thursdays. You know, people have outings, people are freely roaming through the park. So I'd say it's probably one of the most busiest one in the entire county as well when you count Irish Fest and the amount of participants also. But that's my number. That's my numbers. But what are the amenities right now, and what will change in the future?
Well, right now it's basically an open town square. There are very few amenities other than some park benches and so forth, walkways. The thing that it does offer now, and it will continue to offer, is a kind of a formal downtown feel, a formal square. We're going to retain that feeling. Ritland Kuiper Architects, landscape architects, did a preliminary design, and that's the concept you see in our background photo. Is kind of gives you a feel. We're going to widen the walkways. We're going to put new benches that will still have that same period feel, new lighting. Some of the biggest improvements you won't even see. And those would be infrastructure. We have old infrastructure there. So we have electrical issues and problems with events. So we'll have all new electrical, and we'll have new plumbing. So we'll have potable water throughout the park, which will be a big improvement too.
And all these changes will give more functionality to be able to do maybe things on an even larger scale as well. And it's going to look really nice.
It will.
when you're driving by. You mentioned earlier how this process started. Some folks reached out to you, said, hey, we want to come together to make this a brand new and improved Lincoln Park, and everything continued from that process. So that's the portion about, let's get this started, let's make it this, but you've had input in to the design and the conversation about that. Can you talk about the input process?
We have. We had multiple stakeholder meetings, and the stakeholders were virtually anyone who has used Lincoln Park and continues to use the park for events or just for their own use. A couple of our really interesting stakeholders would be the youth art team and their group. They came up with the idea, which is really pretty cool, a human scale checkerboard in the center of the park. Another thing that'll be kind of interesting that came out of some of these meetings is a dance chime, where it's an interactive chime where you can dance on it and make music. So while we tried to keep the park open for these large events, We through our meetings with stakeholders, found some ways to make it really kind of cool and interesting and still have the space available.
Well, I can't wait to see you, William, and Tim Moses doing the whole dance thing, making music out there as well. So
It'll be great. I'm looking forward to it.
And just really quickly, will it be more youth accommodating?
It will be. There'll be a number of improvements there that are based on not just what the youth art team had for input, but some of the groups that use the YWCA, other groups, the Boys Girls Club. There are a lot of youth-based activities there.
And I think some parts of the number count with all the different activities, there's at least 100,000 people that probably flow back and forth through the park for a myriad of activities we have.
I think that's a safe number. We haven't done an official count, but I think that's a safe number.
Yeah, I mean, well, if I say it, it has to be somewhat.
It does. You're the mayor.
Yeah, right.
You're in charge.
And how is the park upgraded, funded?
We've had a outpouring of support, and it's been a collaborative effort, and I don't want to forget anyone, so you help me if I do, but when we started the process, McElroy Trust and Stacy Van Gorp, who at that time was the executive director, suggested that we might look at improving the park, and then her board offered funding for the conceptual plan. Along with that, the Waterloo Community Foundation also stepped up for that conceptual plan. Once that plan was put together with stakeholders and input, put down on paper, then we started our grant application for the actual project. And the Otto Schoitz Foundation, Max and Helen Guernsey Foundation, the Blackhawk County Gaming Association, and I'm going to check my notes. I think that covers most of the major ones. R.J. McElroy Trust, of course, was a big one.
And when will this project begin and be finished?
Well, we're all looking forward to Irish Fest. So Irish Fest will be coming up here real quickly. When Irish Fest is done, I think we'll have one Friday Lou after that, immediately after that, and break ground in the middle of August. And it should be completed by Woodruff Construction. The construction documents state by May 15th. So we'll hope for good weather and hope that all comes true.
And just
the following year, I should say.
And so, just a fun fact, in 1845, so Abe Lincoln never visited the park, right?
Not
that we know of.
That I remember.
All right. And George and Mary Melrose Hanna, John Melrose, and the William Verdon family were early residents and founders of Waterloo, near where the park is located. Has there ever been any thought of renaming the park? And I don't want to start a controversy.
We aren't thinking about renaming or selling or anything along those lines. The Lincoln Park name is kind of one of two, I would call them bookends, historic parks, with Washington Park and Lincoln Park, both near downtown and both town square type traditional parks. We also have a sculpture there entitled The Quill, that with a plaque with a famous quote from Abraham Lincoln when he was giving a speech prior to his election about abolishing slavery. So there's pretty steeped history with this name.
All right. So, I want to thank you, Paul. It's been a pleasure working with you all these years, and for taking time out of your busy schedule to tell us about this most significant park update. And next spring will be an exciting time for our city as the new park is finished and unveiled. And I hope you will come back when the park is open for an update.
Thank you.
Lincoln Park is one of the oldest parks in the country. It was platted in 1854 by Jonathan Pratt and James Verdon to be used as a location for a public open space or a courthouse. Theodore Roosevelt spoke there when he was vice president, and so did President William Howard Taft. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
When I ride my bike, I am always very careful and stay safe at all times. I always wear a properly fitted helmet. I check the safety lights in the front and back of my bike, and no matter where I ride, I keep an eye out for cars, even when riding on the sidewalk. This message is brought to you by Drive Safe Cedar Valley.
Looking for something to do? For entertainment, shopping, eating, and more, go to experiencewaterloo.com for complete listings of so many exciting activities, places, and venues.
I'm Jessica Rucker, Executive Director of Main Street Waterloo. Main Street Waterloo is part of a select group of communities committed to downtown economic development, and we are proud to be one of more than 50 communities in the state who have designated Main Street Community Accreditation. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to enhancing the vitality of downtown Waterloo. Be sure to visit the Urban Farmers Market on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to noon. Also check out Friday Lou with special bands and events at Lincoln Park from 5:30 to 9:30 p.m. And consider many opportunities to be part of a Main Street by volunteering, and be sure to check out what is going on in downtown Waterloo on our Main Street Waterloo website, www.mainstreetwaterloo.org. We have many exciting annual events which you won't want to miss.
And speaking of annual events, we just had an awesome third annual Mayor's Fireworks Show, and you coordinated with the Center for Arts and with other offices, but we also had some great sponsors.
We had some amazing sponsors. We had our fireworks sponsors, AECOM, JSA, and ASPRO. Our entertainment sponsor, Mercy One. Community sponsors, Art Block and Hawkeye Community College. And our media sponsors, KWWL, Koloff Media, and KCF Mix 93.5, KCFI, and 1650 The Fan.
I'm glad you made it through that. You said K. Yeah, right, that makes sense. But that's our show, and we welcome your suggestions and feedback. And remember to tell others that these episodes are available for viewing from City of Waterloo website, and that's cityofwaterlooiowa.com, and search for Heart for the City. And be sure to like us on Facebook. Please join us next time, and thanks for watching Heart for the City. Until then, I think you will agree that it is a great day to be in Waterloo.